and you've totally turned this thing around. So what were some of the things you addressed when you came in order to get the program going in the right direction?
The biggest thing we wanted to make sure that we instill somewhat of some accountability and discipline in the program. I think they had good players here. The previous coach did a great job of bringing in some good talent. But I think somewhat of it was just a lot of transition issues that were going on and guys not being held accountable for some of their actions. So we wanted to make sure that we addressed those things as soon as we walked in the door. And like any program, you're going to have some young men that resist. You're going to have some young men that buy in. Fortunately, we were able to have more guys that bought in than they resisted. In the first year, we were able to be co-MEAC champs, and, we felt like the program was heading in the right direction. We wanted to make sure the second year we just continued to build off that and make sure people understood it wasn't a fluke. We were able to bring in some quality young men ourselves as far as that put us at 2 recruiting classes really back-to-back. And now we're seeing those guys really mature, those guys really starting to develop. And now I think that's what has led to us being able to be, undefeated so far in the conference, is that we've done a good job of bringing in some good players, and we've done a good job of making sure they bought into what our philosophy is. And that's just making sure that we're playing a fast brand of football, a physical brand of football, and also doing some things off the field that are right. I think our APR right now is one of the highest it's ever been. It is the highest it's ever been in the history of the program. So they're not only going to class and doing what they're supposed to do, they're performing on the field. And as a coach, that's the biggest thing that you can ask for.
So you won a share of the MEAC several years in a row, but I've got to be honest. Coach, I'm a true proponent of a MEAC conference championship, and I understand that the dilemma right now is that there's an odd number of teams, 11 teams in the MEAC, which prevents you guys from being able to have a conference championship. But I just want to get your thoughts on it. Is it time for the MEAC to actually take on a conference championship game?
I've always been an advocate of a conference championship, especially when we made the transition and we decided to be in the Celebration Bowl. I just think there is a brand out there of our sport and our level of ball that I think people want to see. I think people will pay money to come see, and people watch it on television. So I think that the powers that be. I've always said that I think that we could benefit from a game like that as far as. And that prevents us from having a lot of co-championships. You see in the SWAC, they went to a championship game probably in 1999. So I know they got 10 teams and we have 11. And, you can make the argument that prevents us from doing certain things. But, where there's a will, there's a way. So I don't make the decisions on whether we can have it or not. I just know if there was any kind of way or form or fashion to try to have a championship game, I do think I would be a big advocate of that.
Wrapping up with North Carolina Central University head coach Jerry Mack. This is the HBCU Report. Rob Calloway here with you. North Carolina Central in action today, 1 o'clock kickoff versus Morgan State University. It is homecoming on the campus of Morgan State. So, again, big shouts out to all the alumni up in the Baltimore, Maryland area. Coming up today, you face a Morgan State team that's going to have their eyes on the target being you, North Carolina Central. A win for Morgan State could end up having negative Celebration Bowl implications for your team, and it also can kind of keep them in the thick of things, if you will. So with the target on your backs, what do you expect out of Coach Ferrier's Morgan State Bears?
I think no matter, it's another conference game. And I think, just because we were co-champs last year, I don't really think that's puts a target on our back necessarily. As their hopes and dreams are right here in front of them too. I mean, they've only lost one game in the conference. We're undefeated in the conference. They understand if they beat us, then you got a few teams then with just one loss. And for the last couple of years, every team that has won the share the championship has had at least one loss. So it puts them kind of, to me, right back in the hunt of the thing. So they're going to try to make sure that they continue to stay in the hunt. They're a really good team. Coach Ferry's done a great job over there with Morgan State. They're really explosive. They're fast. They're well coached. You can tell they fly to the ball. I mean, you just see a lot of good things off their football team. We're going to have our hands full. They present a lot of different issues for us, so we got to make sure we play well if we're going to have a chance to win that game.
All right, he is Jerry Mack, head coach of the North Carolina Central University Eagles. Now, before we let you go, Coach, understand that you have a birthday coming up next week, so happy 36.
Thank you.
Yeah, young 36. Very good. All right, Coach. Good luck in today's matchup, and we look forward to talking to you right here on the HBCU Report in the near future, all right?
No problem. I appreciate you guys.
All right, thanks, man. Very good. All right. So, I always like to give you guys nuggets when we preview these games. And here's another one. I got some Polynesian sauce or some yum sauce if you like to dip your nuggets in. But the last time Morgan State hosted North Carolina Central for homecoming, it was actually October 18th, 2014. The Eagles were up 27 in the fourth quarter before the Bears rallied back for a 21-20 victory. The loss kept North Carolina Central from winning the MEAC outright, and it also helped Morgan State win the conference tiebreaker, and they went on to the FCS playoffs. So, anytime these two teams hook up, it's always a good one, and I think that's definitely what we're going to have today. All right, so don't forget, before we go to break, don't forget, coming up next week, the show's going to be live from Birmingham, Alabama, site of the largest HBCU Classic, the 75th annual Magic City Classic between Alabama State and Alabama A&M from Legion Field. This is the HBCU Report being heard via Spreaker.com, and I am Rob Calloway. We are powered by SportsNewsAndBrews.com, your official source for sports, black news, political news, and the latest on your favorite craft beers. And coming up on the other side, we will talk with Fred Ferrier, head coach of the Morgan State Bears, as we continue to preview today's MEAC showdown, North Carolina Central University versus Morgan State.
The HBCU experience lives here. The HBCU Report with Rob Calloway. We'll be right back.
I heard on the news about that 5-year-old who found his uncle's gun. The kid didn't know it was loaded.
I heard on the news about that 14-year-old girl who was bullied online for like a year. She couldn't take it anymore, so she got her dad's gun from his nightstand.
I heard on the news about that guy who broke into someone's house, stole a gun from the hall closet.
He accidentally shot his cousin in the head.
She killed herself.
And later, killed the owner of the store he was trying to rob.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Connecting the SWAC, the MEAC, SIAC, and the CIAA. The HBCU experience lives here. It's the HBCU Report with Rob Calloway.
This is the HBCU Report being heard via Spreaker.com. We are powered by SportsNewsAndBrews.com, your official source for sports, black news, political news, and the latest on your favorite craft beers. In addition to Spreaker, the HBCU Report can also be heard via iTunes, the TuneIn Radio app, and Google Play Music for Android. Don't forget, you can go back and relive any of our previous episodes right there on Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, or Google Play Music. The HBCU Report is officially everywhere you are. Now, as we continue to preview today's MEAC matchup between North Carolina Central and Morgan State, we turn our attention to our next guest, head coach of those Morgan State Bears, Fred Ferrier, joins us on the line right now. First of all, Coach, thank you for joining us on the HBCU Report.
No problem, Rob. Excited to be here, and thanks for having us.
No problem, man. So let's go back to last week. You dropped one, Hampton, 21-12. Briefly, take us through last week's game.
Yeah, definitely a disappointing loss for us. We felt like we had some opportunities to make some plays in that game. Defensively, I thought we played really well at times, held them to a season low in yardage, and really shut them down in a lot of areas. But we really, offensively and special teams-wise, just made too many mistakes to be the team that capitalized off all of our mistakes. We ended up having an interception that led to points and 2 special teams mistakes that led to 2 other scores. When you play good football teams that are well coached, you just can't make mistakes like that. So, we've got some things we got to clean up. There's some other opportunities within that game, offensively and special teams-wise, where we do what we need to do and we process things the way that they should be processed. We got an opportunity to get in the end zone and score some points and get a few more first downs and keep their offense off the field. So gives us a great opportunity to kind of go back to work this week, clean some things up, and prepare for this homecoming game against North Carolina Central, which will be a big challenge for us.
All right, so you guys are currently 2-1 in MEAC play. versus the North Carolina Central team that's a perfect 4-0 in the conference. Looking at this team, what are some of your concerns that you've been addressing at practice this week?
First and foremost, this is a very well-coached football team. They've got a ton of experience on the offensive side of the ball. They returned 9 out of 11 starters with a quarterback who's been starting the last 3 years and has been playing for 4 years in Malcolm Bell. Malcolm can drop back and throw it. He can run the ball. He's one of their top 2 rushers. So he's a dual-threat quarterback and a very smart young man. He doesn't really force throws downfield. He takes what the defense gives him. And then at times he makes some really good throws in some tight windows down the field, but he doesn't really take a lot of chances and really a smart player. You know, they've got some really talented wide receivers. Levonta Smith is the leading receiver who makes some plays for them and is averaging over 16 yards a catch and has some long touchdowns down the field where he can stretch the field. And then they've got a bigger kid, Jalen Wilkes, who also has a good number of catches, a kid who's 6'1", 6'2", and can make some catches down the field for you. And, you know, they got 2 running backs, which are both doing really, really well. Those guys kind of share the load in addition to the quarterback, Ramon Simpson and Darrell McClain. So those guys, as an offense, you know, they've got threats in the receiving game. They've got running backs who can run it. They got a quarterback who can run it. So they're very talented defensively as well. They're very aggressive. Their defensive line is big and strong. Those guys use their hands well. They got motors. They run to the football. They're going to go after the quarterback. Interior, they got 2 big kids, Juwan Smith and Cyrus Stanback. Both of those guys, 6'2", 6'3", 280, 290 pounds. Those guys are very active. Coming off the edges, they got Antonio Brown and Frederick Henry Ajua. Those guys play really strong off the edges. They're going to keep contained. They don't make a lot of mistakes. This team is very well coached. They don't make a lot of mistakes. You know, they win games where, just like last week, they can go and they can dominate a team and win 33-3. But then they can also play the game that's very, very close in bad conditions and win 17-13 like they did a couple weeks ago against Florida A&M. So we're excited about it. It's homecoming for us. And, you know, a lot of times somebody asked me the other day, they said, one of the reporters asked me, he said, "Hey, Coach, how come you guys don't schedule some kind of pansy for homecoming?" And my response is, first of all, I don't schedule the games for homecoming. And then secondly, you know, you want a competitive environment. And, you know, every football coach talks about building a program and wanting to play the best and be the best. And, you know, what better opportunity than to have one of the best teams in the MEAC come in here on homecoming and you get a chance to beat them and compete against them and have a good football game for our fans, our administrators, our administration, and our alumni. So we're excited. This will be a great challenge for us. We played them a couple years ago for homecoming. It was a very exciting, competitive game that went down to the last 30 seconds of the game, and we'll hope to have something on the field similar to that. You know, you're gonna play a good team, and we gotta bring our A game to have a chance to be in the game and have a chance to win it late.
This is the HBCU Report. Rob Calloway on the line right now with Fred Ferrier. He is the head football coach of the Morgan State Bears. They are in action today versus the MEAC champions, the reigning MEAC champion, North Carolina Central University. 1 o'clock kickoff from Hughes Stadium. So, Coach, you came to Morgan State as a member of Coach Lee Holt's coaching staff back in 2014 as the offensive coordinator and the quarterback coach. How's the transition been for you going from assistant coach to now being the head man for the Bears?
You know, it's been a really good transition. It's been fun, but most importantly, it's been really, really busy, man. The first couple of months, I probably slept very little just trying to get my hands around everything and get a better understanding of all the dynamics that I would be facing. And I was very fortunate to come here as a member of Coach Hull's staff. And that first year we won a share of the MEAC championship, which I was very grateful to be here and have an understanding of kind of how Morgan works. And, you know, I think this is a really special place. I think we got a lot of potential to be a much better football team as we move forward. And the transition really has been really smooth. Administration has been very supportive. Dr. David Wilson, our president, has been awesome with his support and directives in terms of what he wants done. Our vice president of student affairs, Dr. Kevin Banks, has been outstanding in his support. And our interim athletic director, Elise Wagner, has been phenomenal in terms of her direction and what we've done during this interim period as we have been moving towards hiring a permanent athletic director. Our players have been fantastic. You know, it's always going to be a little different. We were in the same program, and even though Coach Hull and I think